So, welcome everyone. And before we start with the opening aspiration, let's take a moment of silence, just in gathering ourselves in our body, the center of our hearts, if possible. Letting go of the thoughts, just centering the mind and the body. Being fully here and now. And telling the body, I am home, I am home, I am here. Yeah, so anyone who would like to read the opening aspiration for us would be nice.
Yeah. With boundless compassion and wisdom, I will work for the welfare of all. May we be free from hunger and discord and have joy and a world at peace.
Yeah, thank you, Ritu. So let's start today with verse 4, remembering impermanence. Yeah, so we'll take up a little bit of reading and then we can share our reflections. Yeah, anyone who wants to go ahead.
Yeah, I'll read. Remembering impermanence. Close friends who have long been together will separate. Wealth and possessions gained with much effort will be left behind. Consciousness, a guest, will leave the hotel of the body to give up the concerns of this life is the practice of a bodhisattva. Of course, this verse goes completely against the mentality of a modern consumer society, which is so centered on this life and how happiness depends on close relationships, success, money, possessions. The more you have, the more you are. The text points out that our consciousness is just a guest in a hotel. This body is only here for a short time. However long life lasts, in cosmic time, it is less than a finger snap. Then the guest has to leave and find another hotel. In other words, absolutely everything is impermanent. Should I pause here?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe one sentence more.
This includes ourselves.
Yeah, thank you. Any thoughts, anyone? I think this would be your favorite topic of reflection, death, impermanence. So, yeah, welcoming reflections and thoughts.
I like the way the world is structured, to give up the concerns of this life. Like she's talking about friends, wealth, possessions, even consciousness. So this is my life, right? This doesn't feel like a concern of my life, and yet to give up the concerns of this life is the practice of a bodhisattva. Like I'm not this, I am more, right? This is just something I am at right now at this point of time, if time is a criteria. And yet they're saying he's saying it's a concern. He like concern of this life, this my possessions, wealth, friends, relationships, consciousness. So good window. Yeah.
I think that's why in the very first sentence she says that this goes against the mentality of our society. What you just said, that this is my life and it is being asked to give that all up. And again, I think we have to see that it's not giving up life or relationships. It's the concerns that are there, as you rightly, pointed out. And this is again what Jetsunma keeps on sharing again and again, that it's not a problem to have relationships in life or have work and have interactions, have wealth, have possessions. The only thing is that we stick to it. We begin very grasping. Like the example she gives is like if you hold a butterfly in your hand, she says that if you keep it open hands and say, yes, butterfly, I'll take care of you. You can stay here as long as you want. So she's alive and happy and can roam around freely. But the moment you say, oh my God, you're so beautiful, butterfly, I want to have you, and gone. And she says, no, butterfly. So I think that's what we do unwantingly, because as we read Mother Sri Aurobindo, it comes that why do we do that? Because we are born in forgetfulness, we are born in ignorance of uh, knowing who you truly are. I don't know who I truly am. I think that I am this limited self and hence very little, very lacking. So let me possess the other limited self. Let me possess this finite thing so that I can become more. And that is the root of our delusion. And we see, I think all of us may have experiences in our life where the more we have tried to want and grasp something, the more it has actually gone away from us. And the more we like keep it relatively relaxed, not holding too tight, the more there is beauty and harmony and love there. And there are many, many good songs for those of us who are music oriented. Many, many good songs by Kabirji, sang by a very good vocal singers about this, consciousness, a guest will leave the body, hotel of the body. So, for example, Ud Jayega Hans Akela, one of the very famous songs by Kabirji. And then another one is in another form, Jagrat Rehna Re, Nagar Mein Chor Avega. Again, very famous by Kabirji. Yeah, any more reflections here, Anya?
This that you just touched upon, the more you have, the more you are. I think this is something that one must reflect on actively on an ongoing basis, right? Like, because this is seated so deep in me, right? Like taking, grasping, holding, gaining, earning. It makes me feel that something has been added on. But to question, especially once that moment has passed, right? Okay, oh, this happened, or you got this, or you purchased this. Maybe once that moment is gone, if one looks, that do I actually have more? Like, does it feel that something actually got added, or it feels like another burden, right? Like I remember, like, my father was had a little bit interest towards, let's say, like a good car, right? Like a good branded, expensive one. So he ended up purchasing one quite late in life. And once we got it, like within, I think, a week, he realized that the torture it's bringing him. First of all, the seats were horrible, but the name was good. The sitting capacity was like in the sense there were so many things. The insurances were so much, and plus, whenever the driver would drive it, he would be concerned if it touches anywhere, it would be so expensive. So in a week, he realized that, oh, nothing, right? Like, oh God, this is not an add-on. This is a burden that I'm carrying, right? And then he wanted to just dispose it off. That okay, been there, done that, realized, a mistake. So just, it's not that we don't do these things, and we must still. There is that desire, right? If we want to, and we feel this will give me something. If we still want to, we must. But if we can see while we are doing it, I think that really then adds, right? Then the next time there's a possibility that you might even know before indulging that ये मुझे क्या देगा, right? Like I still want to do it, I do it, knowing that no, nothing. Like so yeah. So the more I get, the more the more I have, the more I become is something that actively day to day I must question whenever I'm, greedy or grasping or aiming or planning that, and then what? And then what? There was, this story, right? Very famous that a guy is sitting, I don't know, somewhere aram say he's sitting under an umbrella and all, and a businessman comes and what are you doing? He's like, I'm just sitting, and he's like, no, no, why don't you, buy, say, I don't know, two cows? And he's like, so then what? He said the cows will give milk, and then he was like, then what, right? Da 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 da. And then he said, then you'll relax. And he said, that's what I'm doing right now, right? Like I don't have to do those 20 things of. So we are always thinking that I will do this, then I'll get happiness, then I'll get delight, then something big will happen. And I keep losing what I have right now. So it's a very big trap that if I just become a bit conscious to it, the window opens and I can see more and more. Yeah. And even this thing, right? Like your life is like a snap. Like, the whole life is like a snap in the cosmic timelines and all. And yet, when it's happening, it's so real, it's so painful, the suffering is so concrete. So, how you say, right? You had read it in again a Buddhist text, right? It's all a dream, anyways. Like, if I keep remembering that it's, yeah, it'll, I don't know, just this context of how real am I making it? How big am I making it? And is it big? So that helps. And again, I mean, at least talking about myself and not getting too involved into the ups and downs. One is able to a little bit step back. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, actually, this Alokda shares this. I think many other teachers also, that if you feel at times very troubled by your own situation, me, my story, then, and not only then, in fact, in good times also, because only we resort to these measures when you are seething with pain. Anyway, so even in our relatively okay times, he suggests that to contemplate going further and further and further and looking at the cosmicity at the cosmic level, galaxies, and so contemplating that level and looking from there that, oh, Earth, a little dot, what is it? So then when we contemplate on the beyondness of things, then we find our pain very little, and then we can go through it rather than too much wriggle in it and wallow in it and all that we do, all of us. Uh, and the other thing is that I think in regards of pain, our own pain also connects to pain of mankind, like how we suffer because of our mostly ego consciousness. Uh, yeah, it just tells me that this is how today I suffer. This is how an ego suffers. Billions of us suffering like this. The more importance I give to this little me, the more it makes me suffer. So yes, so that contemplation can be really expensive, going back and back. I think art of living also they suggest something like I heard from someone, going back and back and back and further. Like if you're on Earth, then imagine that you're on Mars, looking at Earth and just going further, so that you lose sense of that strong pain that you were having.
There are
So,
actually lots of videos of this on YouTube, like even
okay,
before Art of
okay,
Living and stuff. You know how people have made that, and and this is you, right? Like this is the sun, this is
yeah,
Earth, and
yeah,
so just to put
yeah,
things in context, because we forget, right? It just feels me
yeah,
and my life and everything is so big.
yeah. And at times it does become very big. Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. Yeah. And this, the story that you shared, it reminded me of another story where I read it in Tales Told by Mystics by Manoj Das. So there he was sharing that there was once a village in which all the people that were living were, they were priests, like pandits who would do havans and all kind of things. And like couples living together, pandit, panditain, maybe their family, something like that. And in their angan, the whatever we call it, they had a havan kund. So once one of the wives was cleaning the havan kund. I don't know why wives would clean only, but it was just mentioned in the story. Maybe it was the husband. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so she was cleaning and she saw some gold in that havan kund. And she said that how is it lying in the havan kund? Where is it coming from? And then she asked her husband, and he said that I can't remember, putting in gold here. I just had spat, he like spit at night in that Havan Kund, and they saw in the morning was gold. So that Panditine, he was very like excited about it. That wow, it means that we can have more. So she said that okay, let's experiment. Tonight also we do it again, and they did it, and again it got them in the morning more gold. Now this news that these people, one particular family is becoming more and more wealthy, it got to other people, and they saw them doing this trick. So slowly this expanded, and one of the particular families, they were seeing it happen, and the guy was not very happy about it. He said that this is going to lead us into very big trouble. And although the wife said no, no, let us also try, but he didn't give in. So slowly they saw that although people were becoming wealthy, they were having more, but then they became jealous of each other. They got fighting with each other, and no, within very few times, just one house were left. All the other houses, they were so aggressive on each other that they started fighting and burning each other's houses. And then lastly, that particular family had to actually leave. And he said that I this is what I expected. I can't live here. And then when they were leaving, they just saw that everything was just burning in flames because of that want and greed and possession, and also lack of sanctity, because it's the same havan kund that you're using for holy things, and just because it is giving gold, you're just spitting in it. So yeah, it was a very revelatory story for me when I read it. What reminded. And there was one who could maintain his sanctity and who could not fall into the trap also. Yeah. I think this reminder that it's a snap also helps us when, for example, when we are maybe troubled at moody at somebody. We are so उसने सुबह मेरे को ये बोला मुझे बात नहीं करनी, कट्टी हो जाते हैं छोटे बच्चे. And we do that, we adults do it in our own way. We don't pick up the phone calls, we block the persons at times. I've done that. And yeah, many other things that we do. बात नहीं करेंगे एक एक महीने तक. And when we realize, and then this becomes like alive for us, that what is it? It's a finger snap, and this person who I maybe cherish, now I am mad at. You know, what's the point? What's the point? And we think often that दूसरे लोग मरते हैं, हम नहीं मरेंगे. Usually we think that unless death strikes our home, we usually think that it's only the others who are published in newspapers who die, not me, or maybe my relatives who are getting old. They may die, but not me. See, I am still young, very healthy, but God knows when death strikes, and we know that it has been striking forever. Ages have gone. So I think this also reminds us to live fully and not to live in those disturbing emotions. And even if anger arises, we can drop it. Immediately we can drop it. Mood may arise, but we don't hold on to it, knowing that it's not going to give anybody any gain. So it really helps if we contemplate. If oftentimes we forget. Yeah, you can sing, Manmeet, Kabir Bhajan.
थैंक यू। अब तुम कब सुमरोगे राम, जिवड़ा 2 दिन का मेहमान। गर्भापन में हाथ जुड़ाया, निकल हुआ बेईमान। बालापन में खेल गुमाया, तरुणापन में काम। बुढ़ेपन में कांपन लागा, निकल गया अरमान। झूठी काया झूठी माया, आखिर मौत निदान। कहत कबीर सुनो भाई साधो, यही घोड़ मैदान।
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. So I think, yeah, it's many, as Manmeet shared, there are many good reminders as bhajans which are available nowadays because of YouTube. We have many good reminders. If we remind ourselves, oftentimes we forget to remind ourselves. And I think that's why they talk about taking refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Sangha is a community of like-minded people who are like traveling towards truth together and keep on reminding each other, because each one forgets. We may have read a hack somewhere of my pain, emotional, mental torture that I'm giving me, but I forget in the middle of that pain. Actually, I forget. I don't remember that hack. So it's good to remember uh, from time to time through each other's, like hints and clues. All right. So anything until here? This includes ourselves and this one. I think one thing which I want to add is many people think at times, I think we have touched upon that also, that isn't it very morose or sorrowful when you keep on thinking about death? But I think it's only depends on how you are thinking about it. Because if you really go to the roots of it, it actually makes us more alive. As we were discussing, that I would not be holding on to those grudges if I knew that I could die any moment. Would I want to die with that kind of a burden? And would I want to have so much of hate in my heart while I die? So I think it depends on how you are reflecting upon death, and it's actually making us more alive. People who remember death every day, and all the masters have usually said. And again, I think context to context, because Sri Aurobindo and Mother talk about deathlessness also, that the body has a bad habit of dying, and it doesn't have to die. But that would come later, because right now, the way we are, so much in ignorance, so much of poison that is there, it's good that we die and don't live forever with so much of poison in us. But the more purified we become, the more we open the psyche, fully turn to the divine, each thought, each feeling, body sensations, fully for the divine. Then actually, what Mother and Sri Aurobindo talk about, that there is no need. And first of all, the body should also change, and there is no need for the body to pass away. Right now, in ignorance, that's why it's required to pass on. So that if there are wrong deeds that I'm doing, not ending, then good that the body ends so that the chakra can end. So that's another perspective on death. Yes, Ritu.
Yeah, and in Hindi we call our planet Mrityu Lok. So that is something that is inevitable. I mean, we're born on this planet. So
Yeah. And Mrityulok, along with that, they also say that if you want to progress, even devas, they say, again, I don't know, they say that even devas, if they have to progress, they have to actually take a birth on Mrityulok. Because progression is only possible here. That is what they say. And they say that in other realms which are existing, it is possible to consume all the good karma you have, but it is not possible to make more. You can, okay, like, you see in our mythological serials that all the devas, they're just all the time having party, Menkas and Gandharv, everybody is dancing all around, lots of food, lots of wine. So they're all the time, just enjoying the good karma. But if you want to have progression in life, growth of consciousness, that is, as you said, on possible on Mrityulok. So that's the advantage of Mrityulok. But this Mrityulok, it doesn't have to remain Mrityulok. That's what we see in Mother in Sri Aurobindo. It is Mrityulok because we perpetuate our ignorance. We defend our ignorance. We defend our moods. We defend our anger. We defend our bad habits. It doesn't have to, and that is why the word life divine. Life divine is when the earth consciousness becomes fully divine. So what's the need of dying anymore? So that's the possibility that Sri Aurobindo and Mother open us to. Okay, so anything last here before we go further? Further more. Okay, so then we can maybe take it further. Anyone who would like to read?
furthermore, all the stuff that we've accumulated has to be left behind for somebody else. Even if our whole life was spent gathering and accumulating, at the end, no matter who we are, we don't take one single coin with us, nothing. However, many loved ones and friends, disciples, or groupies you have around you, not one of them can go with you. You are all alone, naked. The only thing we carry with us is our karmic imprints. And what have we done about that? Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche points out the following. Ordinary worldly concerns bring only suffering and disappointment in this life and the next. The appearances of samsara are highly unstable, ever changing, and impermanent, like lightning as it flashes across the night sky. To reflect on the impermanence of all phenomena helps turn your mind towards the Dharma.
Yeah, we can maybe take a pause here. Thank you. I think this really, I connect this with what Taru was sharing in the beginning, that if we actually look at our things that have passed in our life, now that we have lived enough years to reflect upon, I think then it actually makes us wonder that the thing that I wanted so intensely in my past years, or even it may be a day before or whatever in the past, haven't I got it? and yet I'm seeking more, and it has passed. It is not anymore with me. And mother actually says that be very careful of what you are asking, because what you are really asking, you may actually not get it right away, but you you will. This actually seems like a burden. You will get it maybe after some years, and maybe then you actually don't want it. You are saying that why is it here? I don't want it. I didn't ask for it. And then mother says that you asked for it. You don't just remember that when. It takes actually time for like delivery. Blue dart delivery. So you ask for it, and it takes time to reach you. And by the time you have changed your mind, and now you don't want it anymore. Now you don't. You're not appreciating it in your life entering. But we forget that we were the ones only asked, who asked for it. So our desires and demands, no matter how intense they may be at times, they are fleeting. And in our ignorance, we really at times, most of the times, we don't really should have the thing that we are asking for. And many times I have felt very thankful that the very things that I wanted, like the vital, the emotional part, wanted so intensely. I feel really thankful that thank God that didn't happen. So yeah, we can be really glad that all our wishes are not heard. Yeah, so inviting reflections on this, what Ritu just read.
I think coming from the East, right? Like coming from India, this is, I know, like, in the West, people would be like, what are you talking about, right? Like, oh my God, what is this? But for us, we have grown up with this, right? We might not live it, and yet this is not new to us that, everybody's like, साथ क्या लेके जाओगी? साथ क्या लेके जाओगे? Right? We have been prompted this, and it's so much grace that, you know, I mean, being born in India and from the beginning to have such strong roots. And I guess now that I know it more and more, if I can again, make it a part of my, I guess again, I'm using what I just said, everyday reflection or, weekly or anytime reflection, that anytime I'm grasping, like, how long do I have anything or anyone for? I think once I'd heard Shri again from Arthur's Living, he had said that, people talk about love, like how much they love and how they are willing to do so much, this and that. And they were like, okay, say lovers embrace, okay, and say somebody has passed on. So do would you ask the person, okay, tomorrow when, the body that you love so much, would anybody be embracing it? Would anybody, or they are like, yeah, jaldi nikalo, right? That's the, right, from somebody who you grab on to. And when the life is gone, the body is what you identify with, the body is that you know and love. And the moment the life energy leaves it, everybody just wants, okay, just, last right. Why can't we reflect on that? That is our truth. So yeah, I didn't have much, but just this again, it's like just the fact that we are not machines, we are not just mechanical conditioning. If we can use these things that we already know in everyday thoughts or grabbings or desires, or however much we are reminded, right? Like, I know it sounds like too much ke kya kya yaad rakhu, but just that questioning thing ke your favorite lamp, your favorite thing, and you're gone, right? Like that's it. So yeah. I guess it helps in, I guess, loosening the hand a little bit at least.
Absolutely. Yes.
Mm.
Yes. This reminds me, there is a text, I just found it on my laptop, a Buddhist text written by Buddhist nuns. It's called Gata, and it is a reflection on the body, like each part, and beautiful, ladies who became nuns, and they have to reflect each part on the body, that this will turn to dust, you know, and this will also become foul smelly. So I thought maybe we can go through a couple of these verses. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, yeah, this one here. So they say, from sole of foot upwards, O mother, certainly from head hair downwards, contemplate this body, impure, foul, smelly. Dwelling thus, all lust was fully destroyed. Burning is fully cut off, cooled down. The how intensely we burn in our desires. So that is, it cools down. I am liberated. And then again they continue a lot of reflection. I think they were hair and nails and yeah, something like that. Yeah, see, with hair pulled from root, mud smeared, wearing one cloth, I dwelt in past, thinking of blame in blameless and seeing blamelessness in blamable. So anyway, I'm not exactly finding that same verse, but it is there somewhere where she's reflecting on nails and hairs and then each part of the body, that how right now, which look so beautiful, it has to really rot. And then as you were sharing, that it does help uh, to have loosening of that grasp that we try to tightly clutch to. Yeah. See, her craving has fully dried up. Ours maybe not. Here we are. Yeah. Yeah. So it's anyway nice. I'll just share it on the group with everyone. You can go through it. Yeah. Anything more? Yeah. I think there is nothing that wrong. The only, only thing wrong. So Manmeet is asking, what is wrong about lust when you are alive? Why can't you love your body and give up with ease when time comes to go? And I think the only last sentence that you said, most often we are unable to do that. Most often, if we really too much get entangled into what you are saying, lust or loving the body, and it's not about shunning the body. We have to know the difference. It's about not grasping onto things as if this will give me happiness, like how we grasp onto intimate relationships, that if not for this grasping, I would not be happy. So that is the thing that is being addressed. It's not that you can't have relationships and you can't hug anyone, or I think that's not the point. The point is that by nature, because we are born in ignorance and stickiness, by nature, if we begin to hug someone and it becomes a regular affair, then we want more and more, and when the habit breaks, then we are very disappointed. And when we are disappointed, then it's a good point to know that A, I was sticking. I made that my center of happiness. And we see in our relationships that whenever we make any person, thing, or a situation center of our happiness, remembering impermanence, because sooner or later it will change. Each one has their own unfolding in life. So the person that may be most close to you will not be close to you anymore, because things are bound to change. Each person has their own soul journey. You know? So then what will you do? Because we get addicted. It's only the addiction, the grasping onto body, or these kind of things, which is being addressed at. It's not that we have to shun. Shunning is not the point here. And we can take delight in relationships and work and everything, but the only problem is that we stick. That's the only problem. Yeah, please go ahead.
The problem is the stickiness for sure. Just because this is going to go away doesn't mean I'll not enjoy it. May it be my body, may it be the relationship, maybe that flower I'm looking at, which is blossoming right now, and it's going to wither away one day. So that's the nature of my life. So I will enjoy the beauty till it is lasting. And when it goes away, it doesn't mean the end of my life. I am somehow not able to see my smelly body. I see only beauty in my body, and I see beauty in moving forward, and the ugliness is for the others to see. I think with my white hair and wrinkled skin and shriveled body, and when I am about to just let go, I'll be beautiful even in then situation. It's all the others who are looking at me like that. And I'm gonna love fiercely when it comes to me because it's gonna go away. अब मैं तरु के साथ कॉफी पे बैठूंगी तो वो तो जाएगी ना उठ के एक टाइम पे. ये तो नहीं होगा कि मैं तरु से मिलूंगी नहीं. Coffee is also gonna get finished in the cup. Yeah, but I mean somehow didn't resonate so much, Monica, with that.
Yeah, and that's absolutely fine. It's just one of the ways. It's a little drastic way, and it may not resonate with everyone, and that's completely fine. You don't have to. Yeah. It's just one of the infinite possible number of ways. So, where it just helps some of us, not all, who resonate with it, to let go of the grasp. Because there are many, many people, I've gone through it myself, who are so much troubled by the grasp that it creates their life a hell. Then you want a resolution. And for that resolution, you are ready to, really contemplate it to the rotting position because the body ultimately does physically rot. So it's not that anything is not good. And even rotting is a beautiful process. Scientifically, see, rotting is a beautiful process. Other day I was just showing the picture of coronavirus to somebody, and that if you look the electron micrograph of coronavirus, the most closest picture you can have from a microscope, it's a beautiful virus. Beautiful virus. You can't say that it's a virus. No? So that beauty is there in each and every grain of existence. That is the divine presence. Even if so being a scientist, if you take like a spoonful out of a drain or even potty, you know, if you place it under a microscope, see the beauty that is there in it. It won't appear ugly the way our senses see. So it depends upon how we are seeing it, our labels, judgments. Because for a scientist, everything is beautiful. He's curious about everything. And that is why microscopes came, to see that, oh my God, in this brain, which is smelly, yucky, slimy, look at the beauty of creatures that are there. So everything is beautiful. And we are not saying that the body is not beautiful. But as you rightly again reiterated, that the point here in discussion is stickiness. Why? Because on one hand, I say I love. On other hand, when I become sticky, I see also that how much torture I bring to myself and to the other person involved in that love. Would I still do that if I claim that I love? I would not. I would not. Once having tasted that, I would not. So that is the issue here in discussion. Just the lack of stickiness. Yeah. Anything more?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe it's just my conditioning, but like say the word lust, right? Like what is wrong about lust is the question. So lust in itself, like it's like a very strong desire, right? Coming from a place of incompletion that I will get that through this, right? Like that's what the word means to me, that it's not coming from fullness, it's not coming from joy, it's not coming from with an expanded sharing. Like even when I say the word, if I say love, what I feel. If I say lust, what I feel. Like there's this I want, like say Golem from Lord of Rings, right? Like my precious. So there's something very negative about it, like as if it's the devil's way of loving, right? Like it's not a light. It's shrinking. It's not. So just looking at just the root of the word, because the specific word was used, it feels like again just it will
I think
complete
this
me
root of the
again.
word would also connect with lustrous. There is a word in English, lustrous, which is shiny, glittery. And we see, when you were sharing the word. So there also we see that it appears so glittery, that as if it's going to give me something, that satisfaction that we crave for. But haven't we all seen already by this time of our life that it appears glittery? But first of all, the satisfaction is not lasting. Secondly, we become addicted because of that grasping, what you were sharing, that negative, that I am incomplete, and to have, and I think what was being shared, one other point that was coming is that again, when we talk about love and the way we approach things, whether it is a thing or a person, usually we approach it with consuming. Like, I want to consume you because I love you. And although if we go even deeper, Sri Aurobindo's mother's philosophy, there they say that the prey, like a lion, eating up a deer, like he's devouring the deer. He says, I want to eat you up. In the essence, the root of the matter, it is actually love. Because it's the energy of that union. I was really startled when I read that. That the animal, the predator, who is devouring that flesh, is doing it out of love, a want for a full union. But it's again, in ignorance, it's a veiled, distorted form of love. And as human beings, we have that capacity. That's why Manush Janam Amol Re, to Mati Mena Ghol Re. We have that capacity to transcend this devouring kind of a love, and to have that kind of a love which is totally interconnected, feels one, and feels no need to eat the other person up to have love. Only we are capable. And that's why we should make use of it. So if you incarnate word, if you type the word devour, Devour, you will find that reference from Sri Aurobindo where he talks about prey eating, predator eating the prey. Yeah. Okay, so anything here? Let's see. So I think here we see that we will still have accumulation. We will still have some stuff in our homes, some stuff in our property maybe, but it's not that our satisfaction and contentment is dependent on it. That loosely holding, gently holding. So furthermore, all the stuff that we have accumulated has to be left behind for somebody, right? And I think this thing, single coin, what also comes here is all when we are ambitious about, I should be respected, I should have name and fame. That also remains, that we don't carry that with us. So we don't take a single coin. We also don't take all the labels that are given to us in this lifetime, for which we crave so much. That I should be appreciated, respected by people. I should have honor and dignity and all kind of, in terms of how people see me, in our own ways. Yeah. And again, with also your loved ones, that it's not that we don't meet friends, but my contentment is not dependent on meeting a friend. Meeting a friend brings joy, as Manmeet was sharing. But it's not that otherwise I'm joyless. That's not the case. Because if I'm joyless and I'm meeting the friend, just a second. Yeah. So if I'm joyless and I'm meeting the friend, that I may not realize, but I am consuming the friend so that he can give me joy. So I'm making the friend who I claim I love, that you are my object of addiction. You give me joy. You give me joy. And I won't want to do that to a person who I care and cherish. So yes, so it's not about not meeting loved ones and not meeting friends. Please do be happy. Yeah. And these karmic imprints, I think this is also a very good point of reflection, that as we were discussing in other sessions also, that whatever we do out of the sense of lack, we add on the burden of karma. Anything. I speak a word from a sense of lack. I hug someone from a sense of lack. It could be anything. It's not to scare us, but anything we do out of this sense of lack, any good action, it is actually added. They say it gets added onto as a negative, like a burden of karma. And whatever we do with like a selflessness, we do it out of a good heart, not wanting anything, disinterested love, as mothers say, a love that is there, but it's not interested in personal demands. Whatever we do out of that center, that is a positive, like you accumulate merit. And that's why we share, whenever we discuss anything here in our sessions, we share our accumulated merit with all the sentient beings, like a prasad, may the gift of this merit reach everyone. So this is one major possibility that we have in this human world. Once we realize not to keep acting out of burden, 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 burden. Yeah. And again, I think just wanted to point at it that it's not that we would not work. It's not that we would not think, calculate, and do all that is required for our work and family and everything. It's only that, like masters have said, chinta chita saman hai. Like if we worry too much about things, it actually is like close to burning yourself dead. Don't do that. Don't do that. Why? Because the more we worry, mother says that we should not worry about things. First, she says that if there is something that can be done about that particular thing, do it. And if there can't be anything that can be done about that particular situation, then why to worry? So she says that in both cases, there is no point of worrying. The burden that we take on our shoulders, that, oh my God, that is happening, as if we are the karta dharta on this earth, and there is nobody higher above us. So just, I think that also makes me respect other people's journey, even if that may be my own child. Not worrying too much and yet doing my best. It helps me undo that burden that I keep on taking on my shoulders. And just to remember that just like I am a mother, I am a child of the Divine Mother, other people around me also are children of Divine Mother. So won't Divine Mother know best than me? Why do I need to worry? So just doing our best, whatever we are guided, taking those actions, but yet constantly shedding off those burdens off our shoulders, keeping ourselves light. And one more thing that comes to me here is how Gita says that uh, remember me at all times. Since we don't know which point is the last, as Krishna says that, I think one may correct me, I'm just paraphrasing, that Krishna says that whoever remembers me at the last point when they are taking breath comes to me. And since we don't know when is our last breath, then we have to actually remember the divine, or do the japa, or whatever, keep our thoughts ingathered, not to ruminate in all the ugly, vicious loop of thoughts rather than take a divine name. So remembering the divine all the time rather than being scattered in thoughts all the time. And today I was, somebody was sharing with me. I speak a lot. So somebody was sharing with me that mantra, in Sanskrit, it also relates with shastra, which is a weapon. And somebody had shared with that friend of mine that use mantra like a weapon. And that reminded me that mother also shares that people who do japa or any kind of mantra, like maybe you're taking mother's name, mama, or Jai Sai Baba, or anything that you resonate with, people who do japa, mother says, they have like a protective weapon, like a covering, like a protective armor around them than the people who do not do japa. And of course, who is not doing the japa, they are doing the japa of their thoughts all the time. So scattered, scattered, scattered. So it's very helpful to ingather and whoever you have belief in to rather than going into slippery slopes, you keep on taking that name. And that acts like weapon. And that person was sharing with me that once that person was going through a very troubled emotional time, all alone by herself. And she said that suddenly I reminded myself, oh, that Sadhu had said that use mantra as a shastra, weapon. And then she said that I started doing the mantra, whatever she resonated with, and she just came out of that darkness very quickly after that. Yeah. And in Buddhism also we have many mantras. Although Jetsunma says that we think that Buddhism gives the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum, but she says that the only mantra Buddhism talks about is let go, let go, let go, let go. Yeah. Yeah. So any last comments after my blah 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 blah?
The Shastra thing that you spoke about, like use it as a weapon, that reminded me, I don't know how true it is, but it must be, when we used to see those serials like Ramayana, Mahabharata, it wasn't that they were just pulling the barn and they were just doing it, right? That they would pick up a barn, which is like a material thing. They would chant something before they release it, right? So it's like you're giving it energy, right? You're giving it that energy, this energy. Even Brahmastra was a recall, like there was some chanting and then it would just come. Sudarshan Chakra, Brahmastra. So it was all energy, but we just remember arrows and bows and, like
And the
chakra.
fires
Yeah,
coming
and the
out of the
yeah,
clash.
yeah.
Yeah, very true, very true. Yeah.
Mm. And for that matter, I even feel that, how in like such popular temples, that Pran Pratishta, that is again chanting, right? Like there's a saint who comes and he just, touches the murti and he says some mantra and then they say now there is pran in it, like there is life in it. So that's just words, right? Power of the mantra that now
Yes, yes. And invocation. Yes,
invocation.
yeah, just as a mantra. Yeah. Yeah, so Sri Aurobindo talks about this, this reminds me, he says, if you wish to install a living divine presence here in your being, you should keep the temple clean. You have to keep the temple clean, just like you said that we do, every temple, wherever you have morning aarti, dopair, afternoon aarti, evening aarti, then regular cleaning, regular dressing up. So that's what we also have to do. I think it's outer representation of what we have to do inside of us. And all of us have a knowing which tells us what is worth keeping and what is worth throwing. I think we have to just rely on that knowing. And if we think things are there, which we think that no, it's still worth keeping, then we can keep it. Although some others may be saying that no, don't keep it. And through our experiences, whatever, the unfolding of life will tell what to do about it. Yeah. Each one his own life journey. But we do get that sense of cleanliness and ugliness. And I think that's the mother's consciousness, that's the divine consciousness present in us. Because immediately, if we look at our thoughts, nobody has to tell me, I know whether this thought is worth keeping, not worth keeping. Nobody has to tell me. If only I look. Yeah. So let's keep looking. Yeah, any last things before we end? Okay, doing nothing. So let's take this last moment. We'll end here. Sharing all the merit, understanding, delight with all the sentient beings. May our hearts be peaceful, contented, minds very simple, uncomplicated, and may we have lots of joy and progress in our life. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Rinku doesn't say much,
Recording हो गया?